The ship was cold. Olivia Harlow rubbed her arms as she stood in line with 20 other humans. They were in a large metal room with strange glowing marks on the walls. The air smelled wrong, like metal and something sweet that made her nose itch. 4 weeks ago, Olivia had been a tactical officer on Earth. Now she was merchandise. The aliens who had taken them called themselves Thalaxians. They looked like giant insects walking on 2 legs. Their skin shimmered with colors that changed when they moved. They had 6 eyes that glowed in the dim light of the ship. The door at the end of the room slid open. A new alien entered. This one was different. She was taller than the others, with a body covered in what looked like armor made of crystal. 6 thin antennae moved gently above her head. The other aliens bowed low as she passed. "The Queen approaches," hissed one of the guards in broken English. Eyes down. No speaking. All the humans lowered their heads, all except Olivia. She watched as the alien queen moved down the line, stopping now and then to look more closely at a human. The queen made clicking sounds as she talked to a fat, oily alien that followed her. "This shipment from Earth is acceptable, Merchant Graz," the queen said in perfect English, "though they seem weak." "They are stronger than they appear, Your Majesty," said the merchant. "Humans can survive in many environments. They learn quickly and can work for many hours." The queen stopped in front of Olivia. The room went quiet. "This one does not look down," said the queen. Her voice was like music with sharp edges. "Does it not know its place?" "Forgive me, Your Majesty," the merchant said quickly. "Some are not yet properly trained. I will have this one removed." "No." The queen raised a hand with long, sharp fingers. "This is interesting." Olivia met the queen's 6 eyes without blinking. "My name is Olivia Harlow." "I am not an it." The merchant made a choking sound. The guards moved forward with their weapons ready. The queen raised her hand again and everyone stopped. "It speaks directly to me. No fear." She leaned closer to Olivia. "Do you know who I am, human?" "You're their queen," Olivia said. "And you're shopping for slaves." The merchant was shaking now. "Your Majesty, please allow me to punish this one for its disrespect." Silence. The queen never took her eyes off Olivia. "You fought when you were taken?" "I killed 3 of the soldiers who attacked our outpost," Olivia said. "And I would have killed more if they hadn't used gas." The queen's antennae moved quickly. Olivia realized this might be how she showed emotion. "I will take this one," the queen said. The merchant looked shocked. "Your Majesty, this human is dangerous." She organized an escape attempt during the journey. She injured several guards. "Perhaps another—" "I said I will take this one." The queen's voice was cold now. "Name your price." After the merchant and queen finished their business, guards took Olivia from the line. They put a metal collar around her neck and led her through long hallways that curved in strange ways. Everything in the ship seemed alive. The walls glowed and pulsed, and the floor felt warm under her feet. They entered a large room filled with strange objects. The walls were made of something like glass, showing the stars outside. Olivia could see a planet below. Not Earth, but a world with purple oceans and green clouds. "Leave us," the queen said to the guards. When they were gone, she walked around Olivia slowly. "You have a warrior's eyes." "I was a tactical specialist," Olivia said, "before your people attacked us." "A soldier, then." The queen touched a panel on the wall and a section opened. She took out a small device and pressed it against the collar on Olivia's neck. The collar fell away. "This makes little sense for one who will serve in my private chambers." Olivia rubbed her neck. "Why did you buy me?" "Curiosity." The queen moved to a raised platform and sat on what must have been her throne. It was made of the same crystal-like material as her armor. "I am Zixara, queen of the Thalaxian Empire. We rule over 300 worlds in this part of the galaxy, and now you want Earth too." "Earth is nothing, a small planet with limited resources." The queen's antennae moved again. "But humans are interesting. You fight when you cannot win. You adapt to new situations quickly. Most species we encounter either surrender immediately or fight until they are extinct." A door at the side of the room opened. Another Thalaxian entered, this one smaller and with duller colors. He stopped when he saw Olivia standing freely. "Your Majesty," he said, his voice full of alarm. "The human is not restrained." "I am aware, Drell," said the queen. "This is my new personal attendant." "The council will not approve of bringing an unproven species into the royal chambers," Drell said. especially with the Razak delegation arriving tomorrow. It could be dangerous, the council advises. I rule. The Queen stood. Leave us. Drell backed out of the room, but not before giving Olivia a look that made her skin crawl. When he was gone, the Queen turned back to Olivia. You will live here in these rooms. You will learn our ways and assist me with my daily tasks. And if I refuse, then you will be sent to the mining colonies on Dreas 4. Few survive more than a year there. The Queen's voice was matter-of-fact. The choice is yours. Olivia looked around the room, taking in details, looking for weapons, exits, anything useful. Old habits from her military training. Why me? There were other humans you could have chosen. Because you are different. You show no fear. You look me in the eyes. The Queen moved closer, and the others smell of despair. You smell of anger, of determination. What do you really want from me? Olivia asked. The Queen was silent for a long moment. The Empire is changing. New threats emerge. Old ways of thinking may not serve us much longer. She touched a panel and part of the wall became a screen showing stars and planets. Perhaps new perspectives are needed, and you think a slave can give you that? I think a warrior might. The Queen turned back to Olivia. Serve me well and you may find your position improves. Fail me and Dreas 4 awaits. Olivia considered her options. She was alone on an alien ship, billions of miles from Earth. Fighting now would be suicide. But if she stayed, learned, watched, there might be opportunities later. I'll serve, she said finally. For now, the Queen's antennae quivered. A wise choice. Rest now. Tomorrow your new life begins. As the Queen left through a hidden door, Olivia walked to the window and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth, and somehow, someday, she would find her way back. But first, she would learn everything she could about these aliens, their queen, and their empire. Knowledge was power, and Olivia intended to become very powerful indeed. 3 weeks passed. Olivia learned to move through the Queen's chambers like a shadow. She cleaned strange objects that might have been art or weapons. She brought food that looked like glowing crystals to the Queen. She stood silently during meetings with alien visitors. But Olivia was not just a servant. She was a soldier gathering intelligence. Each night when the Queen left for other parts of the huge ship, Olivia explored. She found that the walls had screens that showed maps of the ship. She watched how the Thalaxians pressed their 6-fingered hands to panels to open doors. She listened to their clicks and hums that made up their real language. The Queen always spoke English to Olivia, but when other Thalaxians were around, they spoke in their own tongue. They thought Olivia couldn't understand. They were wrong. Olivia had always been good with languages. By the end of the first week, she could understand most of what they said. By the end of the second, she knew the Queen was at war with another alien race called the Razak. Tonight, Olivia was polishing a set of metal spheres that floated above a table. They might have been toys or bombs. She wasn't sure. The Queen had been gone all day at a war meeting. The door slid open, and Queen Zixara entered. Her crystal armor was dull, and her antennae drooped. Olivia bowed her head as she had been taught. Your Majesty. Leave that, the Queen said. Bring me the blue liquid from the cabinet. Olivia went to a glass case that held bottles of strange fluids. She took out one with glowing blue liquid and brought it to the Queen. Zixara drank it quickly, and her colors brightened a little. The war goes badly? Olivia asked carefully. The Queen's eyes fixed on her. What do you know of the war? Only what I have heard in passing, Your Majesty. The Queen was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, You understand our language? It wasn't a question. Olivia felt her heart beat faster but kept her face calm. Yes, Your Majesty. And you have been using the knowledge terminals when you think no one is watching. Olivia froze. The terminals were screens built into the walls that showed information about the ship, the Empire, and the war. She had been careful to only use them when alone, but nothing escaped the Queen's notice. Instead of anger, the Queen seemed curious. What have you learned about our war with the Razak? Olivia hesitated. Then she decided to take a risk. Your fleet formations are too rigid. The Razak ships are smaller and faster. They attack in groups of 3, break your lines, then regroup. Your commanders keep using the same tactics even though they don't work. The Queen's antennae went still. How would you know this? I was a tactical specialist on Earth. I studied battle reports from your war terminals. Olivia pointed to a screen on the wall. Your ships always form a triangle pattern. The Razak know this. They target the lead ship, then the two at the back corners. The Queen walked to the window. Stars glittered outside. 30 ships lost in the last battle. Our best commander killed. She turned back to Olivia. What would you suggest? Olivia blinked, surprised by the question. Change your patterns. Be unpredictable. Set traps. Explain. Olivia walked to the screen and touched it. It lit up with a map of stars. Make the Razak think you're using the same formation, but have hidden ships here and here. She pointed to spots on the map. When they attack in their groups of 3, your hidden ships can trap them. The Queen studied the map. An ambush. Yes, humans have been fighting wars for thousands of years. Sometimes the best strategy is the oldest one. The Queen's colors shifted to a deep blue. Tomorrow there is a war council. You will attend. As your servant? As my advisor. The Queen touched a panel and a door opened in the wall. These will be your new quarters, more suitable for an advisor than a slave. Olivia looked through the door. The room was small but had a real bed and its own washing area. Thank you, Your Majesty. I'm curious, Olivia Harlow. If our positions were reversed, if humans had captured me, would your people treat me with such opportunity? Olivia thought about it. Some would, others wouldn't. Humans aren't all the same. Neither are Thalaxians. The Queen's voice was quiet. Remember that. After the Queen left, Olivia went to her new room. On a small table was a glowing crystal. She picked it up and nearly dropped it when images appeared in the air above it. It was a data crystal. It showed pictures of Earth, of humans, and strange symbols she didn't understand. She touched one of the floating images, and it expanded to show a human brain next to a Thalaxian brain. Parts were highlighted in both. Olivia studied the images until her eyes hurt. She didn't understand all of it, but one thing was clear. The Thalaxians were very interested in human brains. The next day, servants brought Olivia new clothes. Not the simple gray tunic of a slave, but a fitted suit of dark blue material that felt like silk but was stronger. They also brought a small device that fit over her ear. For translation, one servant explained. Though the Queen says you already understand our language. The War Council was held in a large room with a huge round table. Alien officers in gleaming armor stood when the Queen entered. They stared at Olivia with their multicolored eyes. Your Majesty, one officer said, why is the human here? Olivia Harlow is my new tactical advisor, the Queen said. Her tone left no room for argument. The officer's antennae quivered with what might have been anger or shock. A human cannot understand our strategies. Show them, the Queen said to Olivia. Olivia stepped forward to the table. It was a large screen showing a star system. Your last battle was here. She touched a point, and it lit up. You lost because your formation was predictable. The Razak knew exactly where to hit you. She moved her hands over the table and ships appeared. If you had placed ships here and here hidden behind these moons, you could have trapped the Razak forces when they attacked. The room was silent. Then one officer, older than the rest with faded colors, leaned forward. The human is right. I suggested a similar strategy, but was overruled. By whom? The Queen asked. Chief Advisor Drell, Your Majesty. He insisted we maintain traditional formations. The Queen's eyes narrowed. Drell is not a military commander. He should not be giving battle orders. The old officer bowed his head. He speaks with your authority, Your Majesty. No longer, the Queen said. Not in matters of war. She turned to Olivia. Show us your strategy for the next battle. For the next hour, Olivia explained her ideas. Some officers resisted, but others, especially the older ones, listened carefully. By the end, they had a new battle plan. As they left the council room, Olivia noticed Drell watching from a doorway. His eyes were cold, and his colors were a dull red. That night, as Olivia studied more data crystals in her room, she found something that made her blood run cold. It was a report about Earth, written before the Thalaxians had ever visited the planet. The report talked about human brains and something called psychic potential. It said humans had abilities that were dormant but could be awakened, abilities that might someday rival the Thalaxians' own powers, and the report recommended that humans be harvested or eliminated before they could develop these abilities. Olivia was so focused on reading that she didn't hear her door open. When she looked up, Drell was standing there, his eyes fixed on the data crystal in her hand. "So," he said softly, "you found it. The real reason we came to Earth." His hand moved to a weapon at his side. "The Queen has been too trusting with you, human. That ends now." Olivia knew she had seconds to act. The truth about her people, about why the Thalaxians had really come to Earth, it couldn't die with her. She had to escape, had to warn someone. But first, she had to survive the next few minutes. Drell moved into the room, his hand still on his weapon. "Give me the data crystal, human." Olivia's mind raced. The room had one door. Drell blocked it. There were no windows. "The Queen gave this to me," Olivia lied. "She wanted me to understand your people better." "The Queen is making a mistake with you," Drell said. His voice was cold. "Humans are dangerous. Your kind must be controlled, not advised." "What are you afraid of?" Olivia asked. She slowly moved toward the small table where a heavy metal vase sat. "That will develop these abilities your reports talk about?" Drell's colors darkened to a deep red. "So you know. Then you understand why you cannot leave this room alive." He pulled out his weapon, a short rod that glowed at one end. Olivia grabbed the vase and threw it at him. It hit his arm and the weapon fell to the floor. Olivia dove for it, but Drell was fast. His foot came down on her hand and she cried out in pain. "Guards!" Drell called out. "The human is attacking me, help!" Olivia knew how this would look. Her word against the chief advisors, she had seconds to decide what to do. She rolled away from Drell and kicked at his legs. He stumbled back, surprised by her strength. Olivia scrambled to her feet and ran not toward the door but toward the wall panel. She had watched the Queen enough times to know how to use it. She pressed her hand to the panel in the pattern she had memorized. A hidden door slid open, the service tunnels used by maintenance workers. Olivia grabbed the data crystal and dove through the opening just as guards burst into the room. "Stop her!" Drell shouted. "The human has stolen classified information." Olivia ran through the narrow tunnel. Pipes and cables lined the walls, glowing with strange energy. She had studied the ship's layout on the terminals enough to have a basic idea of where to go. The tunnels ran throughout the ship like veins in a body. If she could reach the lower levels, she might find a way to a shuttle bay. Every ship had escape pods. Behind her, she heard the sound of guards entering the tunnels. Their heavy footsteps echoed on the metal floor. Olivia ran faster, taking turns at random, trying to lose them. After what felt like hours, she stopped to catch her breath. The tunnels were quiet now. She had lost the guards, but she was also lost herself. She looked at the markings on the walls, trying to make sense of them. A soft sound made her turn. In the dim light of the tunnel, she saw a smaller Thalaxian watching her. This one had lighter colors than the others, almost silver, and seemed younger. "You're the human everyone's talking about," the young Thalaxian said in perfect English. "The one who advised the Queen." Olivia tensed, ready to run again. "Are you going to call the guards?" "If I wanted to do that, they would already be here." The Thalaxian moved closer. "I am Lyra, niece to Queen Zixara. A princess, then?" "Something like that." Lyra's antennae twitched in what might have been amusement. "Why are you running?" "Drell tried to kill me. I found information about why your people came to Earth." "The Awakening Protocol?" Lyra asked. Olivia stared at her. "You know about it?" "Not everyone agrees with the old ways," Lyra said. "Some of us believe humans should be allies, not slaves or test subjects." Alarms began to sound throughout the ship. A voice spoke in the Thalaxian language, ordering all personnel to search for the escaped human. "They will find you soon," Lyra said. "These tunnels are the first place they will look." "I need to get off this ship," Olivia said. "I need to warn Earth about what's happening." Lyra was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Follow me." They moved through the tunnels, taking turns Olivia would never have found on her own. Lyra seemed to know the ship better than anyone. "Why are you helping me?" Olivia asked as they climbed down a ladder to a lower level. The Empire is changing, Lyra said. The old council, Drell and his supporters, they fear change. They fear humans. She looked back at Olivia. My aunt does not fear change. That's why she bought you. The Queen knew who I was? Olivia asked, surprised. Olivia Harlow, Tactical Officer for Earth's Defense Force. Your capture was not random. Before Olivia could ask more questions, they reached a small door. Lyra pressed her hand to a panel and the door slid open. They stepped into a small hangar bay with a single ship inside. A scout vessel, Lyra explained. Fast and small. I use it sometimes to explore nearby systems. You're giving me your ship? I'm coming with you, Lyra said. The council would not approve of what I'm about to tell you. It would be safer if I wasn't here for a while. They entered the ship. It was built for Thalaxians with controls designed for six-fingered hands, but Lyra showed Olivia how to use them. Where will we go? Olivia asked. First, we need to get away from this ship. Then we need to find others who think like us. Lyra sat in the pilot's seat and began pressing controls. The Queen has allies among other species. And there is a human resistance. That resistance? There are other humans free out here? Some escaped the harvesting ships. Others were freed by sympathetic Thalaxians. They hide in the outer systems. The small ship hummed to life. The hangar doors began to open. Wait, Olivia said. Won't they stop us? This is my personal ship. The guards will think I'm just going for a flight. Lyra guided the ship toward the opening. By the time they realize you're with me, we'll be gone. The ship lifted off and flew out of the hangar. Through the view screen, Olivia saw the Queen's massive flagship grow smaller behind them. It was huge, like a city in space with lights glowing all over its surface. We need to jump to hyperspace quickly, Lyra said. Once Drell realizes we're gone, a blast of energy shot past their ship. On a screen, Olivia saw another ship launching from the flagship. Too late, Lyra said. Drell's personal vessel. He's faster than I expected. Can we outrun him? Olivia asked. Not in normal space. We need to reach the jump point. Lyra's hands moved quickly over the controls. The ship accelerated, pushing Olivia back in her seat. Another blast hit them, rocking the ship. Warning lights flashed on the control panel. Shields at 60%, Lyra said. One more direct hit and we're in trouble. Olivia looked at the screen showing their pursuer. His ship is bigger, but that makes it less maneuverable. She pointed to a field of debris ahead. Can we go through that? The asteroid field? It's dangerous. More dangerous than Drell's weapons? Lyra's antennae twitched. Good point. She turned the ship toward the field of floating rocks. Some were small, others as big as buildings. Drell's ship followed, still firing. He's taking a big risk, Lyra said as she guided their ship between two large asteroids. If the Queen knew he was firing on her niece, I don't think he cares anymore, Olivia said. He knows what I found out. If that information reaches Earth or the Queen, his plans are finished. They weaved through the asteroid field, the larger ship still in pursuit but falling behind. Lyra was an excellent pilot, making the small scout ship dance between the floating rocks. The jump point is just beyond this field, Lyra said. Another minute and we can make the jump to hyperspace. A large blast hit an asteroid near them, shattering it. Pieces slammed into their ship and alarms blared. Engine damage, Lyra reported. We're losing power. Can we still make the jump? Yes, but I need to divert power from shields and life support. It will be close. Olivia looked at the screens. Drell's ship was closing in again. Do it. Lyra pressed a series of controls. The lights in the ship dimmed and the air grew colder. Hold on. This will be rough. The ship burst out of the asteroid field into open space. Ahead was nothing but stars, but Lyra aimed for a specific point. Jump in 3, 2, 1. The ship shuddered. For a moment, Olivia thought they had failed. Then the stars stretched into lines and a tunnel of light opened before them. They had made the jump to hyperspace. Lyra relaxed slightly. He can't follow us now. Not on the same jump path. Where are we going? Olivia asked. To meet the resistance. Lyra checked the ship's systems. We took damage, but we should make it. The base is hidden in the Sargas Nebula about 6 hours from here. Olivia looked at the data crystal she still held. Lyra, this crystal shows that humans have some kind of psychic potential that your people fear. Do you know what that means? Lyra was quiet for a moment. Then she said, Thalaxians have mental abilities. We can sense emotions, sometimes share thoughts with each other. It's strongest in the royal family. Like telepathy? Similar. We call it the knowing. Lyra turned to face Olivia. The old records suggest that humans have a similar potential, but it's dormant. If awakened, it could be even stronger than ours. And that's why your people came to Earth? To stop us from developing these abilities. Some came for that reason. To study humans to find ways to keep your abilities dormant. Others, Lyra's colors shifted to a darker shade. Others believe humans should be eliminated entirely before you become a threat. And the Queen? What does she believe? My aunt believes in strength through alliance, not conquest. Lyra's voice was firm. That's why she chose you, a warrior. She wanted to understand humans, to see if cooperation was possible. And now she'll think I betrayed her, Olivia said bitterly. Perhaps, or perhaps she will understand when she learns what Drell has done. Lyra checked their course. First, we need to reach the Resistance. Then we can worry about contacting the Queen. The Sargas Nebula was beautiful. Clouds of purple and blue gas swirled in space, hiding whatever lay within. Lyra guided their damaged ship through the colorful mists. Warning lights still flashed on the control panel. The base is hidden inside the nebula, Lyra explained. The gas clouds block most scans. Even if someone followed us here, they would have trouble finding it. Olivia watched as they flew deeper into the nebula. How did the Resistance start? About 2 years ago, when the Thalaxian Empire first discovered Earth, a small group of humans escaped from a research facility. They stole a ship and fled to the outer systems. Lyra's hands moved over the controls, adjusting their course. They found allies, other species who oppose the Empire's expansion, and some Thalaxians who believe in a different path, like you, like me, like others in the royal family who disagree with the old council. Lyra pointed ahead. There it is. Through the gas clouds, Olivia saw a large asteroid. At first it looked natural, just a big rock floating in space. Then she noticed lights glowing in cracks on its surface. As they got closer, she saw ships docked in hidden bays carved into the rock. Welcome to Haven, Lyra said. A voice came over the ship's communication system, speaking in Thalaxian. Lyra responded, then switched to English. They're giving us clearance to land. I told them we have important information and that you're human. Their ship entered a large cave in the asteroid's side. It was a hangar bay filled with different types of ships. Some looked like Thalaxian vessels. Others were completely alien to Olivia. Their ship settled on a landing pad, the engines whining as they shut down. The ship needs repairs, Lyra said, but that can wait. We need to talk to the leaders first. They exited the ship. The air in the hangar was warm and smelled like metal and strange spices. Olivia saw beings of different species working on ships or carrying supplies. Some were Thalaxians, but there were others she didn't recognize. Some with 4 arms, others with scaly skin or no visible eyes. And there were humans. Not many, maybe a dozen that she could see, but they were there. Free humans working alongside aliens. A group approached them. In the lead was a tall human woman with dark skin and short white hair. Behind her were 2 Thalaxians and a being that looked like a large cat walking on 2 legs. Princess Lyra, the woman said, bowing slightly. This is unexpected. Commander Vela, Lyra replied. We come with urgent news. And this is Olivia Harlow, formerly of Earth's Defense Force. She was my aunt's advisor until today. The woman, Vela, studied Olivia with sharp eyes. The Queen's human? We've heard about you. She turned to the others. Secure their ship and check for tracking devices. Then bring them to the council room. They followed Vela through tunnels carved into the asteroid. The walls were lined with technology from different worlds. Pipes carried water and air. Lights were set into the ceiling. It was like a small city inside the rock. How many people live here? Olivia asked. About 2,000, Vela answered. From 15 different species. We have similar bases in other systems, all connected through secure channels. All rebels against the Empire? We prefer allies for a new future, Vela said with a small smile. Not all of us oppose the Empire itself. Many, like Princess Lyra, simply want reform. They entered a large room with a round table in the center. Screens on the walls showed different star systems. About 20 beings sat around the table, some human, some Thalaxian. Others Olivia didn't recognize. Princess Lyra brings news from the Imperial flagship, Vela announced. And she brings Olivia Harlow, the human who served as advisor to Queen Zixara. All eyes turned to them. Lyra stepped forward and explained what had happened. Olivia's discovery of the data crystal, Drell's attempt to kill her, their escape in Lyra's ship, and the pursuit through the asteroid field. When she finished, a human man with gray hair spoke. So Drell was working against the Queen all along. We suspected as much. The Queen doesn't know, Lyra said. Drell has been careful to keep his true plans hidden. And what is in this data crystal that was worth killing for? Asked one of the Thalaxians at the table. Olivia took out the crystal and placed it on the table. Information about human psychic potential. Something called the Awakening Protocol. The room went quiet. Vela picked up the crystal and inserted it into a device on the table. Images appeared in the air above them, the same ones Olivia had seen in her quarters. The old council fears what humans might become, Lyra explained to Olivia. This protocol was created to study human brains, to find ways to prevent your species from developing abilities that might rival or exceed Thalaxian powers. And Drell leads this project? Asked a four-armed alien. He oversees it, Lyra confirmed. But the Queen doesn't know the full extent of it. She was told humans were being studied for scientific reasons, not as potential threats. The gray-haired human man leaned forward. My name is Paul. I was a scientist on Earth before I was taken. The Thalaxians put me in a research facility where they experimented on humans. He touched his temple. They were particularly interested in our brains. Did they find anything? Olivia asked. Do humans really have these abilities? Some do in small ways, Paul said. What you might call intuition or ESP on Earth. But the Thalaxians believe all humans have the potential for much stronger abilities. They found a part of our brain that is similar to the psychic center in Thalaxian brains, but dormant. And they're afraid of what happens if it wakes up, Olivia said, understanding now. Exactly, Vela nodded. Which is why some in the Empire want humans controlled or eliminated. And why we need to act now, before Drell convinces the Council to take more extreme measures against Earth. We need to warn the Queen, Lyra said. If she knew what Drell was planning, she would stop him. How? Olivia asked. We can't exactly call her. And if we try to return to the flagship, Drell will be waiting. There may be another way, Paul said. He touched a control on the table and a new image appeared, a star map showing a small planet. The Razak delegation is scheduled to visit this neutral world in 3 days for peace talks with the Thalaxian Empire. The Queen will be there. Peace talks? Lyra looked surprised. I didn't know about this. It's been kept secret even from most of the royal family, Paul explained. The Queen has been working for months to arrange it. If Drell knows about these talks, Olivia said, he might try to sabotage them. A continued war with the Razak would strengthen his position in the Empire and give him more freedom to pursue his plans for Earth, Vela added. We need to get you both to that meeting. How? Lyra asked. My ship is damaged and any Thalaxian vessel would be recognized. We have something better, Vela smiled. She pressed a button on a small device on her wrist and a new image appeared on the screens. A sleek ship unlike any Olivia had seen before. The Whisper. Fast, stealthy, and equipped with technology that can mask its energy signature. It can get you to the peace talks undetected. Who will pilot it? Olivia asked. You will, Paul said. It's designed to be flown by humans. And you were a tactical officer. You have the skills. Olivia stared at the image of the ship. I've never flown anything like that. You'll have 3 days to learn, Vela said. We'll start your training immediately. For the next 3 days, Olivia barely slept. She spent hours in a simulation pod, learning to fly the Whisper. It responded differently than Earth ships, faster and more sensitive to controls. By the second day, she could navigate through asteroid fields and evade simulated enemy fire. By the third, she felt almost comfortable with its systems. When not in the simulator, she studied the layout of the neutral world where the peace talks would be held. A small planet called Nyx with a single city built inside a massive crater. The talks would take place in a building at the center of the city, with tight security around it. Getting to the planet will be the easy part, Vela explained during their final briefing. Getting to the Queen will be harder. Both the Thalaxian and Razak security forces will be watching for threats. What about the Razak? Olivia asked. What do they look like? Paul showed her images of the other alien species. The Razak were smaller than Thalaxians with smooth gray skin and large black eyes. They had 4 arms and moved quickly on 2 legs. They've been at war with the Thalaxian Empire for over 50 years, he explained. Neither side is winning. Both are exhausted. That's why these peace talks are so important. And why Drell might want to sabotage them, Lyra added. A peace treaty would reduce the military's influence in the empire. The old council would lose power. On the morning of their departure, Olivia stood in the hangar bay looking at the Whisper. It was beautiful, sleek and silver with blue lines running along its hull, smaller than Lyra's scout ship but designed for speed and stealth. Vela handed her a small device. This will get you past the initial security scans. After that, you're on your own. What if we fail? Olivia asked. What if we can't reach the Queen in time? Then we move to Plan B, Vela said grimly. We have other agents in place, but they won't be able to provide the evidence you have. She nodded to the data crystal that now hung on a cord around Olivia's neck. The Queen needs to see that to understand what Drell has been doing. The planet Nyx hung in space like a gray pearl. From orbit, Olivia could see the massive crater where the city was built. Lights glittered within it, a circle of civilization on the otherwise barren world. Approaching Nyx control zone, Olivia said, checking the ship's systems. Stealth systems active. Any sign of Thalaxian or Razak ships? Lyra asked from the co-pilot's seat. Olivia checked the sensors. Several in orbit. Security vessels mostly. And one large ship. Probably the Queen's diplomatic vessel. Any sign of Drell's ship? Not that I can see, but he could have arrived earlier or be using a different vessel. The Whisper slipped through Nyx's atmosphere, its hull glowing briefly as it cut through the outer layers of gas. Olivia guided it toward a mountain range near the crater city, away from the main landing areas. We'll land here, she said, pointing to a valley hidden between two peaks. It's about 10 miles from the city. We can use the ground transport and the cargo hold to reach the peace talks. They landed smoothly on a flat area between tall rock formations. The ship powered down, its systems going into standby mode. Olivia and Lyra went to the cargo area and uncovered a small vehicle that looked like a floating motorcycle. This will get us to the city, Olivia said, but we'll need to leave it outside the security perimeter. They changed into the clothes Vela had provided, simple gray outfits that would help them blend in with the service staff at the peace talks. Olivia secured the data crystal inside a hidden pocket. The ground transport moved silently across the rocky terrain, floating a few feet above the surface. As they approached the crater, they could see the city within, a collection of domed buildings connected by enclosed walkways. In the center was a larger structure with a crystal dome. That's where the peace talks are being held, Lyra said. The Hall of Neutrality. It's an ancient structure built by a species that disappeared thousands of years ago. Both the Thalaxians and Razak consider it sacred ground. They left the transport hidden among rocks at the edge of the crater and continued on foot. A path led down into the city through a narrow gap in the crater wall. As they walked, Olivia noticed other beings heading the same way. Service workers from various species going to their jobs in the city. They joined the flow of workers, keeping their heads down. At the bottom of the path was a security checkpoint. Guards from both Thalaxian and Razak forces checked credentials. Stay calm, Lyra whispered. The device Vela gave you should work. When they reached the checkpoint, Olivia held out the small device. One of the Thalaxian guards scanned it and his screen flashed green. He waved them through without a second look. It worked, Olivia breathed as they walked into the city. Now we just need to get to the hall. The city was busy with diplomats, security personnel, and workers. Thalaxians and Razak moved through the streets, carefully avoiding each other. The peace talks might be happening, but centuries of war couldn't be forgotten in a day. They made their way toward the central dome, moving with purpose like they belonged there. More security checkpoints loomed ahead. We won't get past those with just Vela's device, Lyra said. We need another way in. Olivia noticed service workers entering through a side entrance. There, the staff entrance. If we can blend in with the kitchen workers, we might get through. They joined a group of workers carrying supplies into the building. The security here was lighter. A single bored guard who barely looked at them as they passed. Inside was a maze of corridors. Workers hurried in all directions, preparing for the diplomatic reception that would follow the talks. Lyra led them through the halls, reading the Thalaxian symbols on the walls. The main chamber is this way, she whispered, pointing to a corridor on their right, but it will be heavily guarded. We don't need to get into the main chamber, Olivia said. We just need to get a message to the Queen. They found a service area near the main chamber. Through a small window in a door, they could see the grand room where the peace talks would be held. A large round table dominated the center. Thalaxian and Razak diplomats were already taking their seats. "There's my aunt." Lyra pointed to Queen Zixara, sitting at one side of the table. Her crystal armor gleamed under the lights, and her antennae moved slowly as she spoke to a diplomat beside her. "I don't see Drell," Olivia said, scanning the room. "He wouldn't be at the table. He's not a diplomat." Lyra looked around nervously, but he could be anywhere in the building. A group of servers gathered nearby, preparing to enter with refreshments. Olivia and Lyra joined them, picking up trays of drinks. "Follow my lead," Olivia whispered. They entered the main chamber with the other servers. The room was larger than it had appeared through the window, with a high ceiling that showed the stars through the crystal dome. The air was cool and smelled like strange flowers. Olivia moved carefully around the room, offering drinks to diplomats while scanning for any sign of danger. Lyra did the same on the other side of the table. They couldn't approach the queen directly. Her guards would stop them immediately. As Olivia neared the Razak side of the table, she noticed something strange. One of the Razak diplomats had a small device hidden in his hand. It wasn't a weapon. It looked more like a communication tool, but he kept it concealed, which meant it wasn't supposed to be there. The Razak pressed something on the device, and across the room, a Thalaxian guard's eyes widened suddenly. His hand moved to his weapon. Olivia recognized what was happening instantly. Mind control. The Razak was using some kind of device to influence the Thalaxian guard, and the guard was now looking directly at Queen Zixara. Without thinking, Olivia dropped her tray and lunged toward the guard. "Gun!" she shouted in English. "He's going to shoot!" The room erupted in chaos. Guards from both sides drew weapons. Diplomats dove under the table. The Thalaxian guard, momentarily confused by Olivia's shout, hesitated just long enough for other guards to tackle him. Olivia felt strong hands grab her arms. Two Thalaxian security officers held her tightly. "This human interrupted the peace talks," one said in the Thalaxian language. "Take her away. Wait." Olivia struggled against their grip. "The Razak diplomat. He has a control device. This is a setup." The queen stood, her 6 eyes fixed on Olivia. "Bring her to me," she commanded. The guards hesitated, then led Olivia to the queen. Across the room, Lyra had also been detained. The Razak delegates were protesting loudly, demanding Olivia be removed. "Your Majesty," Olivia said quickly, "this is a trap. Someone is trying to sabotage the peace talks by making it look like your guard tried to assassinate a Razak diplomat." "And why should I believe you, Olivia Harlow?" the queen asked coldly. "You fled my ship with stolen information. Because I can prove it." Olivia reached slowly into her pocket and pulled out the data crystal. "This contains information about a project called the Awakening Protocol. A project that Drell has been running without your knowledge." The queen's antennae stiffened. "Give me the crystal." Olivia handed it over. The queen inserted it into a device on her wrist, and images appeared in the air before her. As the queen reviewed the information, the doors to the chamber burst open. Drell entered, flanked by his own guards. "Your Majesty, the human is dangerous. She must be removed immediately." The queen looked up from the data crystal. "Interesting timing, Drell. I was just reviewing information about a project you've been running. A project to study and suppress human psychic abilities." Drell froze. "Your Majesty, you can explain why you authorized experiments on humans without my knowledge." The queen's voice was dangerously quiet. "Or why you pursued Olivia Harlow and Princess Lyra through an asteroid field, firing on my niece's ship." The room went silent. Even the Razak diplomats stopped their protests. All eyes turned to Drell. "The human lies," Drell said desperately. "She has manipulated that data. She is trying to turn you against me." "Check his aid," Olivia said, pointing to a Thalaxian standing behind Drell. "He has a device similar to the one the Razak diplomat was using. They're working together to sabotage the peace talks." Guards moved toward Drell's aide, who tried to back away. When they grabbed him, he indeed had a small device in his hand, identical to the one the Razak diplomat had been holding. "What is this device?" the queen demanded. One of the guards examined it. "It appears to be a neural influencer, Your Majesty. It can temporarily override another being's thoughts." "The guard who almost drew his weapon," Olivia explained. "He was being controlled. And I'm betting the Razak diplomat who was targeted was not part of this plan. He would have been the victim to start a new war." The queen turned to the Razak delegation. "Is this true?" Is one of your diplomats working with my advisor to sabotage these talks? The head of the Razak delegation, a taller gray alien with markings on his face, stepped forward. We will investigate immediately, Your Majesty. If one of our people is involved, they do not represent our government's wishes for peace. Guards from both sides took the suspected Razak diplomat and Drell's aide into custody. Drell himself stood rigid, his colors fading to a dull gray. You have betrayed me, Drell, the Queen said. You have betrayed the Empire. And for what? To maintain a war that has cost us thousands of lives? To continue experiments on humans that could have led to the destruction of an entire species?